Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early AF, here at 4:45 a.m. on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel, then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Today we're talking about joy and productivity. What is the connection between joy and having a high level of productivity? All right. If you are new to the show, you can go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy. Of course, we also offer very powerful one-on-one productive through joy consulting and coaching. So you can go once again to productivethroughjoy.com. Um, have me come out, speak to your group, school, and/or organization, and we can help you help yourself. All right. Thanks for being here. Let's jump in. So, allow me to also say a few words about myself for those of you who are new to the show. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher, author of the New York Times bestseller Raising Fences. That book's film rights were also optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people called My People. And I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I'm also the author of the acclaimed historical novel Americas, which is set 13 miles from Ferguson, where Michael Brown was murdered. Of course, the conflagration that ensued happened initially there as well. This book just came out last week, 2 weeks ago now. Look for it in bookstores everywhere. I'm probably coming to a town near you. As an aside, tonight I'll be at the Central Library, the fabulous Central Library, their beautiful Mark Taper Auditorium, reading from the letters of Nelson Mandela when he was in prison. His book just came out, his book of letters. I'll be reading along with two other authors from those prison letters, including Mandela's granddaughter will be there reading as well. So it should be a really powerful time. If you're in LA, look it up. Come on down to the Central Library. The event is free, but reservations are required, although there is a standby line afterwards. So just look for that downtown Los Angeles. My educational, I should also say that I'm the president of the board of the World Stage, a literary and jazz venue here in Los Angeles, 501c3 nonprofit, really powerful. We offer 7 days of live of programming, just a really important organization here in Los Angeles. Look for that. If you have interest in jazz or literature, or you can just go to the website, theworldstage.org. And it's a very, very powerful place where great art is happening all the time. My educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergraduate, my master's from UCLA, and my PhD in English literature from the University of California at Riverside. I'm currently a professor of English lit at Loyola Marymount University here in California. I'm an expert at being productive, all right? I don't say that to brag or boast, but people are oftentimes surprised at my level of productivity given how crazy my own personal narrative is. I'm the product of a young girl who was raped at 16, gave birth to me at 17, and subsequently gave me up for adoption to a single divorcee. So at the time, no biological father, no adopted father. Yet, somehow, against all odds, as Kool Moe Dee famously said, how you like me now? And if I can be this productive and do so through joy, which will be today's topic, I know many of us who are watching the show can as well. As part of this business, we're around lots of people who are, as you can imagine, doing well financially. And I have to say, however, that that money does not guarantee joyfulness, happiness. In fact, typically, folks we come across not super joyful, happy people. I mean, So we have a quite a different approach. We have a understanding of whole wealth, where it's not just creating wealth financially, but wealth in terms of family relations, community relations, just being whole and well, and not just trying to accrue extra zeros at the end of your bank account. So, but anyway, reach out to us, productivethroughjoy.com. Again, today we're talking about joy and productivity, and we'd like to also in the morning show discuss briefly the idea of framing your day before your day has a chance to frame you. At times we wake up with trouble on our mind, and that trouble follows us throughout our day. And before we know it, we've ended our day and we're in bed, and that same trouble is on our mind still. We take that into our dream state, wake up, boom, there it is again. So we know the import of dealing with, and that, of course, trouble brings stress, and stress, as we know also through modern science, can kill you, destroys hearts, hypertension, all malady of physical ailments are tied to stress, as we now know. You want to be able to have a plan for stress, because if you're an entrepreneur or just trying to live a life that's anything that's non-traditional, because people who are living traditional lives also are stressed the hell out and don't have no kids. Once you have kids, as you may know, your stress level is going to elevate to a point where, because you're concerned about your kids, you want to see them do well, that's on your mind, you know. You want to have a plan for stress. So most people, in our experience, medicate on alcohol. Like that is, and now in California, weed, because weed is legal here, even when it wasn't legal. So we know how it goes, right? And listen, those things aren't necessarily bad in the short term, but you can't sustain a life, a healthy life, medicating on really anything. You know, you have to find a creative way to deal with that stress. So we help people deal with that in a very explicit way through ritual. Ritual can be defined as doing the same thing at around the same time. Let me just give you my brief morning ritual. So in the mornings I wake up in the mornings at 3:30, read a couple of spiritual business books, do our show at 4:45 here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. At 5, I work on my current book until sunrise. At sunrise, I walk out to the beach. I live here along the coast in Venice Beach, California. I drum, meditate, pray, do yoga. It's incredible out here in the morning. As dawn is breaking, I come back. I work on my book a while longer, then go back to the beach to run up the coast, all the way past Santa Monica Superior, run all the way back here to my gym, Gold's Gym here in Venice, to get my buff on, to get my workout in. So guys, about like 10:30 or so, I'm feeling amazing. My body's feeling great. I'm feeling great, and my body's being flooded with endorphins. And that endorphin release gives me a sense of euphoria that I can then use to move myself towards my goals, my hair app, bam, and objectives. Um, so we're not saying do what I do. We are saying do something though. To lean upon to deal with your stress, as in that physician heal thyself. We are proponents of therapy when that's needed, even medication when that's needed. But we're also, in conjunction with those things, proponents of healing thyself. So I'm reading 3 great books now as a part of my morning rituals. I'm reading a book called Cash in the Flash, which is a book about entrepreneurs and strategies and spirituality. This book is really special. A book called Owning the Moment, which is about just that thing, being in the moment, owning it. And a book called The Nag Hammadi Reader, which is a book of a compendium of spiritual writings in the Gnostic tradition. So from those books I extract some wisdom, which we call the morning chant. And today's morning chant is, as a meditating natural mystic, my joy, love, and discipline creates the conditions for abundance and justice to constantly manifest for myself, my family, and my community. That's a long one, but very powerful, right? So I think about that throughout my day. I contemplate that, and then I create the morning show around that particular idea. So today we're talking about joy and productivity. Let's dive in. Again, go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. Speak to our group. Have me come out and speak to your group, school, or organization. All right, let's dive in. Point 1 is that you want joy to be an aspiration. A lot of times, because snark is such a in vogue thing that people get teased, demonized, attacked for being joyful. You want joy to be a goal. Point 2 is that once you have joy as a goal, you want to find a way to incorporate it, to use it, to live it as, I'll just call it a lifestyle. Joy needs to be a lifestyle, which goes right into point 3. Well, how do you have joy be your lifestyle? You want to, as we talked about earlier a second ago, you want to do the due diligence, do your work to undergird the self so that your joy is authentic. You're not just putting on some fake smiley face. Your joy is emanating from inside yourself. So I gave you my brief morning ritual, meditating, running, and reading, things that I do. Again, we're not saying do that, but we are saying find a way that you can create a renewable source of energy and joyfulness that can emerge out of that particular practice, and that you can then tap into as you go through your day. All right, so boom goes the dynamite. This is just a teaser. Come back, give us a call, holler at us, email, reach out to us, and get more of this power Thanks for being here. We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.